Have you ever wondered what would happen if someone gave up everything they had just to discover the truth about love? What if a millionaire, living a life of extravagance, decided to trade his wealth for simplicity, all to find someone who would love him for who he truly is? Today, we're about to dive into the captivating story of Adam, a man who had it all: luxury cars, a sprawling mansion, and a bank account most people could only dream of. But beneath the glittering surface of his life, Adam carried a heavy secret. His heart longed for something money could never buy: genuine, unconditional love. In a world where appearances often dictate relationships, Adam's journey to uncover true love would challenge everything he believed. We've all questioned the authenticity of relationships at some point in our lives. Whether it's a friend, partner, or even a stranger, we want to know, do they care about us for who we are, or for what we can give them? This story isn't just about Adam. It's a reflection of the universal search for connection and meaning. With that, let's step into Adam's world and discover how one bold decision changed his life forever. Adam grew up in a modest household where money was always tight, and success seemed like a distant dream. From a young age, he vowed to build a life where he would never have to worry about finances again. Through sheer determination, he climbed the ranks of the corporate world, eventually founding his own tech company that made him a millionaire by the age of 32. Outwardly, Adam's life was a picture of perfection. He attended lavish parties, vacationed on private islands, and was featured in magazines as a symbol of success. Yet, despite the applause of the world, Adam felt increasingly isolated. Friends flocked to him for his resources, and romantic interests seemed more drawn to his lifestyle than to him. It was during a grand gala at his mansion, a place filled with crystal chandeliers, a live orchestra, and a sea of designer gowns, that Adam had a revelation. As he moved through the crowd, accepting compliments on his success, he realized something unsettling. He couldn't name a single person in the room he truly trusted. Later that night, Adam sat alone in his spacious living room, staring at the city skyline through floor-to-ceiling windows. The silence was deafening, and for the first time, the weight of his loneliness became unbearable. Adam's greatest fear wasn't losing his fortune. It was the idea that no one in his life loved him for who he really was. This fear grew so strong that he decided to take drastic action. He would leave behind his wealth, his reputation, and his comforts to live an ordinary life. His goal? To find someone who could love him without the shadow of his wealth looming over them. The decision wasn't easy. Could he really let go of everything he'd worked for? How would he even begin this journey? These questions swirled in his mind, but Adam knew he had to try. It was the only way to discover if love, in its purest form, truly existed for him. Adam's plan was simple in theory, but daunting in execution. He liquidated most of his assets and transferred the money into an offshore account, leaving himself with just enough to live modestly. He rented a small studio apartment in a middle-class neighborhood and bought a second-hand car. To complete the transformation, he took a job as a barista at a local cafe. The idea of serving coffee to strangers, after years of commanding boardrooms, felt surreal. Yet, there was an unexpected thrill in stepping away from his polished, high-profile life. The first few days were awkward. He fumbled with orders, spilled milk during latte art attempts, and endured impatient customers. But for the first time in years, Adam felt grounded. His co-workers were friendly, teasing him about his clumsiness, unaware of his true identity. The simplicity of Adam's new life came with its challenges. Used to luxury and convenience, he struggled to adjust. Public transportation tested his patience, and the small apartment felt suffocating compared to his mansion. Nights were the hardest. There were no parties, no social events, just the quiet hum of the refrigerator and his thoughts for company. And then there was the self-doubt. Had he made a mistake? Could he really find love in this new life? Or was he chasing an impossible dream? These questions haunted him, especially on difficult days when he felt like giving up and returning to his old world. Despite the initial hurdles, Adam began to find unexpected joy in his ordinary life. He started recognizing the regulars at the cafe: a college student who always ordered a caramel latte, an elderly woman who loved to chat about her grandchildren, and a man who read poetry while sipping espresso. These small interactions gave Adam a sense of community he had never experienced before. People weren't talking to him because of his wealth. They were connecting with him because of who he was. One evening, as he closed up the cafe, Adam reflected on how much lighter he felt. The burden of maintaining appearances had been lifted. For the first time in years, he was just Adam. Not the millionaire, not the business mogul, but a man rediscovering himself. One rainy afternoon, as Adam worked behind the counter, a woman walked into the cafe. She was drenched from the unexpected downpour, her auburn hair clinging to her face, and her glasses fogged up from the humidity. Despite her disheveled appearance, there was a warmth about her that immediately caught Adam's attention. She ordered a chai latte, laughing as she tried to dry her glasses with a tissue. "Typical of me to forget an umbrella," she said with a self-deprecating chuckle. Her genuine demeanor stood out in a world where people often masked themselves with pretenses. Her name was Emma, a freelance graphic designer who frequented the cafe for its cozy atmosphere and free Wi-Fi. Over the weeks, her visits became more regular, and her conversations with Adam grew longer. Emma's presence brought a spark to Adam's otherwise routine days. She was curious about the world, often sharing stories about her work or the books she was reading. Unlike others Adam had encountered, Emma never once asked about his background or pried into his personal life. Adam found himself looking forward to her visits, but with that excitement came an undercurrent of fear. What if she discovered his true identity? Would she feel betrayed, or would she think he deceived her? As their bond deepened, Adam's emotions became more conflicted. He wanted to be honest, but he also feared that revealing the truth too soon might ruin what they had. One evening, as they sat outside the cafe sharing a coffee after closing hours, Emma opened up about her own life. She spoke about her struggles as a freelancer, the financial instability, and her dream of illustrating children's books. Adam listened intently, moved by her vulnerability. Her honesty inspired him, and he realized that if he wanted their connection to be real, he would need to take a leap of faith and tell her the truth. But timing was everything. Adam decided to wait a little longer, hoping to find the perfect moment to explain his situation. Little did he know, events were already in motion that would force the truth to come out sooner than he expected. As Adam's feelings for Emma grew stronger, he realized that hiding his true self was becoming increasingly difficult. He had already begun to change the way he lived. He'd learned to appreciate the simplicity and authenticity of his new life. But now, his emotional growth was testing him in ways he hadn't anticipated. One afternoon, he decided to take a bold step. Instead of hiding behind the facade of his humble barista role, he invited Emma out to dinner, choosing a modest but charming local bistro. During dinner, he found himself more nervous than he had ever been at a high-stakes business meeting. This was different. This was his heart on the line. He gently broached the subject, saying, "Emma, there's something I need to tell you. It's something I've been hiding, but I think you deserve to know." Emma's face softened, her eyes full of curiosity. Before Adam could continue, she reassured him. "You can tell me anything." Taking a deep breath, Adam confessed the truth about his past, about his wealth, his company, and the life he'd left behind. The silence between them stretched on for what felt like an eternity. Emma sat back in her chair, her fingers tracing the rim of her wine glass. Adam's heart raced, and he could hardly bring himself to look at her. He was terrified she would walk away, that she would see him as nothing more than a rich man hiding behind a false identity. Finally, Emma spoke, but her words weren't what Adam had expected. "I'm not sure how to feel about this," she said quietly. "But what I do know is that this isn't about your money. It's about trust. You've told me something incredibly personal, and that matters more to me than your bank account." Emma's reaction was a relief, but Adam couldn't shake the doubt that lingered in his mind. Would their connection remain genuine now that she knew the truth? Or would everything they shared be tainted by his past? As days passed, Emma continued to visit the cafe, and their connection didn't change. In fact, it deepened. Adam could see the sincerity in her eyes, and with each passing moment, he grew more confident in himself. His self-worth was no longer tied to his wealth or reputation. Instead, it was rooted in the authenticity of his relationships and the simple joys of life. Through this experience, Adam learned to trust not only others but himself as well. He had let go of the idea that he needed to be someone else to be loved. By embracing his true self, imperfections and all, Adam found a sense of peace he had never known before. Months after Adam's confession, his life had transformed in ways he never anticipated. He was no longer living in a grand mansion, but his small apartment felt like a home, filled with laughter, love, and a sense of belonging. His job at the cafe, once a temporary escape, had become a meaningful part of his life. Emma had become a constant in his world. They traveled together, explored new passions, and spent countless hours in conversation. Their relationship was built on a foundation of honesty, trust, and mutual respect, values Adam had never fully understood until now. In the business world, Adam's company had continued to thrive, but his priorities had shifted. He was no longer motivated by the desire to accumulate wealth or status. Instead, he focused on creating a balanced life, where personal happiness and relationships took precedence over material success. Adam had learned the valuable lesson that love was not about what you had, but who you were. And Emma, with her warmth and authenticity, had shown him what it meant to truly be loved for himself, not for the persona he had once tried to project. The most significant lesson Adam learned through this journey was the importance of vulnerability and authenticity. For so long, he believed that success and wealth were the keys to finding love. But it wasn't until he stripped away the facade and embraced his true self that he discovered what he had been searching for all along. True love, Adam realized, isn't conditional on external factors. It isn't about the wealth you possess or the title you hold. It's about the genuine connections you form, the understanding you share, and the way you accept and love each other, flaws and all. Adam's story is a reminder to all of us to seek relationships that nourish us, that are built on trust, respect, and authenticity. True love is found not in perfection but in the willingness to be vulnerable and honest, to let go of the masks we wear and show up as our true selves. So, as you reflect on Adam's journey, ask yourself, are you living authentically? Are your relationships built on honesty and true connection? Or are you holding back, afraid of being truly seen? No matter where you are in your life, it's never too late to step into your truth. Take a moment to evaluate your relationships. Are they based on who you are or what you have? What small change can you make today to nurture the genuine connections that will bring you true happiness? Remember, the most meaningful things in life can't be bought. They are created in moments of vulnerability, love, and honesty. Life isn't about the wealth you accumulate or the success you achieve. It's about the relationships you build, the moments you share, and the way you embrace the journey. True happiness comes from living authentically and connecting with others in a genuine way. Adam's story shows that when we let go of the masks we wear and embrace our true selves, we open the door to a love that is real and unconditional. So, as you go through your day, remember that the best moments in life are not measured by what you own, but by the experiences and connections you cherish. Embrace who you are and allow those who truly see you to come into your life. The best is yet to come.